Good morning and welcome everyone. This is Michael Venezia. I am the head trader here at Tradeview Markets, and this is Friday, July 10th. Tuesday, July 7th was the biggest day if you saw the last webcast from bottom to top that the market has made since 2011, 4+ years. So with that being said, I'm going to actually work backwards right now in this webcast, and for those of you that watch, thankfully, I usually end off the webcast by saying do your homework. Now I'm going to start from the beginning, especially in this type of time where we're having dream volatility, for lack of a better word. So what is doing your homework? Okay, I have to equate this to everybody where, if this is a great time to make and to lose money, but at least they're giving you the opportunity that everybody wants. So I equate this to, suppose you owned a restaurant on the boardwalk, and I'm sure July 4th weekend, which is usually an extended weekend, is one of your big money generating weekends, if not the most. I'm sure you're going to do whatever you have to do to try to get sales up, business, and psych the employees, or just make it work and have it really mean something that weekend is a big one. This is that time too. So what is homework? Okay. Besides going through my normal routine, and I can't stress enough how important a routine is, because a routine leads to a plan, and a plan either leads to success and or revisions based upon that very plan. So, all right, besides having my list of my general universe of stocks on my monitor and whatever, I have a notepad. I don't have a spreadsheet. I don't have anything. It's a notepad. It says top stocks with percentage moves and high volume. You can have them on any query. I just like to write them down. I'm old school, whatever it does. It works. So I'm not going to change it, but everybody does the same thing. So I had that top list of stocks. So let me talk about yesterday, what happened, which was Thursday evening. So the market had precipitous close, which I'll show in a little while, and I shut the screen off and I stepped away for a bunch of hours. And about 9 o'clock Eastern time at night, I looked at, I went up, punched up my quotes and looked at what was going on generally. And I saw that the futures rallied nicely. Once again, I'm going to show you the spot there. Okay, so I took note. So I think the futures closed about 204.60, and the futures rallied up after some more leaked out Greek news. And the futures, the SPYs, if you will, were trading 206.25 to 206.75. Okay, nice move up, and they had a tight range. I took note of that because the volatility wasn't as much as I thought it would be with that big of a move, even though it was that late at night. Okay, so I took note of that. I wrote it down. SPYs had that range. The Shanghai wasn't really getting going yet. By the way, it did close up again after the biggest move it's had, up day it's ever had. 2 days ago, it was 6.5%, 7%, I believe. All right, so I do a little bit of research at 8:30. I'm not bound to it. I'm not married to. I'm not pulling up an all-nighter. If I had to, I would actually. I've been trying. I would love to pull an all-nighter like the old days, but I do have a life outside of it. With that being said, okay. So I took note. So then I woke up this morning, 4:35. I'm not saying I wake up any earlier than anybody else or I make more money. That's what I do. It's an 8, by the way. It doesn't matter if I be in construction. That's what time I get up. But anyway, so I did take note at 4:30 in the morning that the futures, after Europe has closed, and as we sit right now, 7:30 Eastern, New York time, Friday morning, the European markets acted, I guess, the way it should. They roll up across the 2%, 2.10%. And the SPYs, after having that 206.25 to 206.50 range, are now trading 207.10, 207.20, which, right now we, for lack of a better term, are going on, overseas are leading us, which is not usually the way it goes. So I'm watching to see what these SPYs are doing, but let me get on to my real point of the homework. So that's my routine. I'm taking note of the overseas futures moves and closes more than ever, because that's what it calls for, and it's worth it. So you have to pay special close to these ranges. But let me get back to this. I traded. Let me get this example. The most successful trader, and I'm not going to give his name. You could do your due diligence and you'll find his name out, to ever come out of my previous firm, Schoenfeld, who the rumor is he's now worth $1 billion, was a Russian immigrant who drove a New York City taxi cab until he could save up enough money for his family, for him to take a stab at the trading career. I'll give you another example. I traded 2 seats down from in Long Island, New York for many years. A gentleman who was an MIT PhD in mathematics. And for those of you overseas that don't know what that is, look it up. A freak. And I say that in all due respect. And all that this gentleman would do were type in spreadsheets all day long, numbers. And he'd say like, wow, this United Airlines had a great day with triple volume, and it had pivot points, blah, 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 numeric things and all that. And I said, okay, Joe, where'd the stock close? And he gave me every empirical answer, here, volume, this, that. I said, Joe, do you know why the stock did that? And he said, no. It was actually that the CEO wound up dropping dead of a heart attack. Sorry, but he did. So, and I said, but Joe, it's not a mathematical equation. You know, the rest of the stocks reacted as well. Now, my real point to this, and I always keep it in mind because this gives me a little bit more additional confidence, especially with this time of high-frequency computers, so to speak, okay? Big money traders, some of them are in a class by their own, but that's that way in any way of life, sports, medicine. Traders that make money more consistently don't have better strategies. What they do is they implement their strategies better. And that comes from focus and discipline. Now, if anybody out there chose to trade a handful of gold stocks and dedicate their life to gold stocks, granted it's not the sexiest existence, but it could be a very profitable one. With that being said, is you'll have a system or your parameters, if you will, over that many some odd years. And if you do anything for 10, 20 years, I don't care what you do, you're going to be decent at it. So you have that going for you. But you know what? I want everybody to realize that, you know, this is a time of volatility. And this is a timing issue with the UVXY and the TVIX, which I've been preaching for some time here. But we're coming up to earnings season next week. Now, I'm excited for this more than I'm thankful for all the geopolitical news, if you will. But I can time and cut my losses. I'm a professional. I can trade the SPYs, TVIX, UVXY, the Chinese internet stocks, and the semi stocks like we've been talking about. But when earnings come out and Apple reports and Microsoft reports, especially these multinationals with the dollar, I'll get into that next week, you really want to see how these stocks act with these huge futures fluctuations, because this is an they're giving you a huge frame of reference on a huge up move and huge down move to see how these particular stocks that come out with earnings act. They're going to be telling their personality for some time. They're actually going to be showing their hand more than usual. So doing your homework next week is more important than ever, because we're getting lucky with these moves, and these are timing moves. But when stocks come out next week and they leak out the following weeks, you'll learn how to trade better. So here we go. Very briefly, what have we been doing? Chart on the SPYs. We'll go to a yearly chart right here. They've held this 204.43 for a couple of times now. By the way, the SPYs are looking up at 207.40. Let's look at a week chart right here on the SPYs. So 207.40 would be definitely, we've had a range from 204.25 to 208. So if you're on the bullish stance, definitely this little gap here at 207.40, 207.60 might be, very well worth it to try to short, because it's worked. Let's look at the UVXY. We've been trading this, the reverse ETF. Let's go back for a week here. You know what the long-term chart looks like? From $40 to $48 a share on 20 million. It's doing 20 million. This is the UVXY. Fitbit I've been very bullish upon. Please watch the semiconductors. QLogic had a report yesterday and they pre-announced, and these were the first. The market opened strongly yesterday. Let's go back to the SPYs. And they sold off from 207.50 to 206. Remember, that's the 10:30 time I like to wait for. And you know what? QLogic, in a group that's beaten down, took down Texas Instruments, a huge thick stock, went from 50 to 48.5. There's a long term on Texan. By the way, if you want to talk about trying to buy these things, we talked about this on Wednesday, as opposed to MU, or if people want to buy SanDisk, people got hurt in SanDisk, myself a little bit. I didn't take it overnight, but I bought it on a dip. You always want to go for the best of breed, because you know what? I was short Texan for a while, and this was one of the last to break. So if anybody's looking to Contra Semi, I'd take a look at that one right there. But definitely I wouldn't be looking for any type of V-shaped reversal. So, Until then, these are the couple of, we're playing the Chinese internet stocks. We're focused on oil. Everything else, obviously the dollar takes in a huge hand. Nobody's even mentioned anything about the bond market or, by the way, you haven't seen me mention any of these little small biotechs either. Those took a backseat. Nobody's hearing about these 30, 40% moves. I don't think I've seen one. So, until then, everybody, please trade well, have a good weekend, and do your homework. Thank you.